though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm welcome to Speak On It. Welcome to Speak On it. I'm welcome to Speak On It. Welcome to Speak On it. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 Who You With, Kurt, dog. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, dog. I'm Who You With, Kurt, dog. Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully y'all had a great weekend. I know I did. It was well, today wasn't that hot, but yeah, we back in the house again for Sunday. What are y'all doing for Labor Day tomorrow? Are you off tomorrow? Are you working? What's the plans for tomorrow? I might need to come get me a plate from somebody. So welcome to the show. Want to welcome everyone on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is in the house. Also, I keep forgetting about Anchor. Welcome to the show, SAL. I know y'all are doing it up in Florida, and try to be safe because y'all governor is a hot mess. Hold on real quick. I hate when it happens in my mouse. Just when dead, I had it charging, so hopefully it'll come back on if I can get what I need up. Had no indication it was low. So, but yeah. So how are y'all doing? What are you gonna do for the weekend? Well, for Monday, do you get a day off, or are you gonna have to work tomorrow? No, a lot of people are off for a long weekend, and then some people probably been off since Thursday. But unfortunately, I haven't been. But we shall see. But I will be off tomorrow, though. Don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. Radio Mustang hit that 40-year mark. Said I found out over the weekend I have to start wearing glasses. It be that way sometimes. Not sure what's going on with my mouse and my computer. Let me see if I can get my backup, because for some reason this one is not working. And if you know, when you have a computer that you have to have that mouse in there, it just don't do right. So but you know, I always have a bag of tricks. So let me see if I can find my other mouse real quick and hook it up, because this one is radio. SAI, yes, Texas governor is a hot mess. That's why we're gonna vote his ass out next year. And him and the son, your governor also, both of them is kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. So hopefully we could get them both out of office and do some bigger things. Somebody better come in office. Not saying they're gonna be better than, well, they have to be better than what we've been dealing with. And so hopefully Florida show up just like Texas next year, show up and show out for we can get these fools out of office. Welcome to the show. T-Cal is in the house. Let me see if this one will see if this one. Okay. Had to put my backup. Podcast talk show. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. First time seeing you tuning in. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Everyone is welcome on this show. Um, and yes, you can ask questions. You can ask questions. So, and you can definitely talk to me and I will respond. But whatever question you ask, I will ask you to be prepared because I'm very open and upfront. So, no personal questions, but you can ask uh, anything you want to. Um, Trying to get this other mouse to work real quick. So podcast asks, what is your biggest fear? What is your worst nightmare? Who's your favorite actor? Who is your favorite singer? Oh Lord, that's a lot. I don't like snakes, dead, live, or fake. What is your worst nightmare? Um, Not being in the will of God. Who's your favorite actor? Oh man, I'm gonna have to say Regina King. Uh, She don't do a whole bunch of movies no more, but I've been following her since a child, and that's my secret crush. So Regina King. But there's a lot of great actors out there I love, but she will be my favorite one. Who is your favorite singer? Oh man. Unfortunately, we just lost him last week. The Dr. Lee Williams of the Spiritual QCs passed away last week, and he's one of my greatest singers. There's a lot of them, but my go-to music when I'm going through things, I will say Lee Williams of the Spiritual QCs. So uh, definitely, you can ask me anything, and I will answer. People will let you know I'm open. I'm open and upfront. How do I feel about a rock transition? I think um, we share too much stuff. That's my personal opinion. Because here it is: if you let your right hand know what your left hand doing before it happened, well, the left hand is going to prepare for it, and that's basically what happened. Once they announced that we was going out and we was leaving, they already made preparation for it. They've been doing it for the last 20 years. I think we give out way too much information, and I I I understand it's on Biden watch, which is true, and he's going to be the one that it goes down in history on. But I think if any president, and I hate to say this, including Trump, it would have been the same results. So on that part, I feel like we give out way too much information before we do it. Sometimes you just got to move in silence, and that's the best way of doing things. Hold on. Now that I have a mouse, let me do this real quick because I did not start Anchor. Hold on, real quick. Do. Okay. You are listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk Dog. I'm Who You With Kirk Dog. Want to welcome everyone to the show. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter, D Live. You can also subscribe to the channel for a very low rate, $2.99. I know I went to Starbucks this morning. I spent $5 and something for one drink, but for $2.99, you can get it for a whole month. So definitely subscribe to the channel. We're on seven different podcast stations, so you can definitely find us on the go, no matter where you are. We have several questions coming in. Have anybody be mean to you, like saying names and bullying you? Oh, they put it like this: as soon as I understand with what we are doing, because I would assume you have a podcast too. I understand with what we do, everyone is not going to like the things that we do, and that's fine. That's why with this platform, it's a platform for everyone, and everybody is welcome here, regardless of your religious background, political views. We don't care. Everybody is welcome here, and um, so have I received some bullying? Yeah, yeah, we have. So far, I've only blocked one person in the last year and almost 2 years we've been doing it. We only block one person. And if you ever get the opportunity, go to our YouTube page, read the comments that people leave. It's hilarious. Some of them get upset, and I'm like, hey, don't shoot the messenger. That's all I'm saying. But in everyone, no matter which platform you own, please take the time, like, subscribe, click the notification for whenever we come on live. You could be a part of the show, just like SAL, Radio Chaos, TCal, podcast talk show. You can come on live and be a part of the show also. And the many others that are listening. We have a lot of people to come on that they like to just sit back and listen in the background. That's cool. We have no problem with that. Then every once in a while, if we hit on something, they'll say, hey, what about this? That's cool. But what I podcast talk show, what I will tell you, the best thing you could do when it come down to a situation like that, have thick skin. Because when I first got into it, it bothered me. It really did, because I'm like, hey, if I'm sharing this information, why are people doing this? So, but at the same time, everybody don't have the same opinion. But as long as I'm doing what I feel that God is leading me to do, I could care less about someone getting upset. So they also ask, what make you feel better if anybody is bullying you and say names and call you names? Because I feel bad. Thick skin. I pray for them. I keep on moving. And you could tell in my response on YouTube to their comments, I said, pray out of heart. Sometimes I have to delete some of the comments before I send it, because I let my feelings get involved. But I don't respond the same way they do. I kill them with kindness, which we have a lot of Trump supporters that follow the show, which is fine. And I don't feel that anybody, I don't want everybody to agree with everything I say, because it should be a dialogue, open communication. And SAL said, yes, I agree with us giving out too much information. And all aboard, welcome to the show out of Florida. Thank you for always tuning in. I'm glad you made it in the house. Saying hello to me, radio, and everybody in the chat. Do you like animals or pets? Yes, I do. I'm actually, our last dog we had to put down because he had so many seizures in one night. I think it was like 20 something seizure from 10 o'clock at night to like 11 in the morning. So when I could get him into the vet, and then after that, they put him on medication, and I just seen him going down, down, down. So we had to make the decision to put him down before he wouldn't suffer. But I do like dogs, and I'm kind of thinking about getting a fish tank. Again, I used to have one back in the day, so I'm thinking about doing that also. So haven't decided yet. And of course, fish tank is not as much maintenance, but want to decide on what size tank I want. I know I want saltwater fish. I know that. Um, so definitely uh, continue to bring the question. I don't mind answering questions. So only thing we ask for on the show is people be respectful and come with truth. We don't deal with conspiracy theory. That's the only rules I have. Um, Radio said, "Hey, all aboard! Fish, all aboard! Who own a pet store out in Florida said fish tank can be very expensive, though. Yes, they can. They can be very expensive. And when you're dealing with salt water like African sickles, um, I'm thinking I'm saying that right. They're very aggressive. So you have to have enough um, stuff in the tank because they territory and they will attack each other. And I hate to say it, but I had one when I had a tank last time. He was very aggressive and he was attacking other fish. I'm talking about one fish, half of the tail was gone because he was chasing them around the tank. And I'm like, hey, I pulled them out, had the little net, and I said, look, I rule this tank, you don't. You keep on, you're gonna be up out of here. He got back in the tank and he went in and went between this rock. He settled down. And actually, that fish, it lasted about, I think I had him for almost a year and a half before he died. Yeah, but fish tanks can be very expensive, depends on the type of fish you get. Salt water is a little bit expensive. So it could definitely be kind of expensive. Podcast talk show asks, what would you do if people saying mean comments and dislike the videos? Um, that's rude when someone doesn't like your content, and I would always show support. For me, I have filters on my chat. So if somebody put a word that I have blocked, it won't come up. And I have to go back and review those comments in order for it to come up. And it's a lot of them I don't allow to come up. Kind of like last week, I want to say it was either Wednesday or Thursday when we talked about Elijah McCain. Some fool um, put in the chat. Well, I tried to put it in the chat. It didn't come up, but I got the alert of it, and they basically said uh, the gorilla got what he deserved. He's just the uh, N word and all of this, and I wanted to respond back on that one, but they blocked it and they deleted that message before I could get to it, even though I got the alert about it. But once they review all the comments that come in, and certain ones they will delete before I get a chance to respond. And that one was deleted, but I did want to respond back to it, and it wasn't going to be nice. So, um, but racism is always a thing because you never know where a person stands, and if I don't know you, don't know anything about you, but as for me as a black man doing this, I'm exposed to a lot of people. And because of that, it made me also to be very private. I was already private beforehand, but now I'm very private because of some of the things that have been said in the past. Um, so, but I'm also a man with faith. So I'm also follow God's footsteps. And it's amazing because I'm not gonna lie to you, and I've said it on the show quite a bit. It been times I wanted to stop this for the simple fact some of the things that people were saying, some of the responses, and unfortunately, um, people would listen to your show, but they won't necessarily subscribe to your show, even though it's free to like your page, subscribe to it, and all of this. Some people just won't do it, but they would definitely come in and listen. And that kind of discouraged you a little bit because I can see the numbers of people that come up on my stream every show, and the numbers don't add up because I'm looking at what I'm looking at now. I get off the show and I may see uh, 200 or 300 on this platform, not a couple of hundred on this one. And it's like, wow. But if everyone took the opportunity and like the page or subscribe to it, it would be much better. And what I do, um, and I try to keep up with it, but I get so busy. But when I have time, I go back. Anybody who's subscribed to any one of our platforms, I go back and I also subscribe to their page. Also, um, that's my support for them. Um, Trying to make sure I answer everything you said. That's rude when someone doesn't like your content. It's fine. I'm like this. What I tell people, especially during the election last year, I'm like, hey, everybody is welcome. If you stick around, you may actually learn some things. Because the only thing I'm gonna give you is facts. What I feel that is facts. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I don't have time to lie to you. I'm gonna just stick strictly to the facts. Um, um, Hold on. I hit the wrong one. Does people be nice or mean to you sometimes? Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, they do. Because I would always be here for you and let show support. I appreciate it. And I will show support to your show also. And matter of fact, uh, let's connect because you can. We can set it up. I don't know what time you broadcast, but if we can do a dual show, and we can have this open discussion about and showing support for each other because I feel like this. Yeah, it's a lot of people do a lot of different things, but I feel like this. They doing a thing, I'm doing mine. We do different things. I have no problem with showing support to people because we're all in this. And everybody we may talk about the same thing sometimes, but the depends on how you explain it. Everybody may explain it different that reach somebody else that make a difference. That's why with me, I talk about the power of voting all the time for the simple fact voting is where our laws are made at. And unfortunately, people who have a felon on their record, unfortunately, they're not aware that most states, if you have paid your dues, you can actually get your voting rights back. So we talk about that quite a bit, and then other helpful things too. So I'm always down for supporting other shows, and the same love you give me, I will give to you. T-Cal said, had to run in and get some lotto tickets. What did I miss? No, we just going over the comments right now. We haven't got started with the show just yet. I'm sure when I get started with it, um, some people will come in that's not going to agree with it, but it's okay. All aboard said this is one of my favorite channels. You always give out facts and entertainment, shared links, and I subscribe. I appreciate it all aboard. I appreciate it. And I'm not ready to share it yet, but Miss Risky and I is working on something. Um, and we've been talking about it, try to make it happen. So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll have it going and see how it works. So we're gonna see. Uh, all the boys said 2 states allowed inmates to vote too. I think somebody mentioned something about one of them. Think one was, I may be wrong. One of them could be Rhode Island, but I'm not sure, and I'm not sure about the other one. But I've heard that There are states that allow inmates that are currently incarcerated to vote also. So we're going to have to look at that also and kind of find out what's the guidelines for it. So we'll take a look at that. But anybody who have a felon on a record that had paid all your dues, you off papers, most states will give you your voting rights back. You can also go to vote.org, and they have a questionnaire on there. And you could go in there and play around with it, and it'll tell you. Because when I found out about it, I went on there. I never been arrested. Went on there, and I put some of the worst things on there. And the biggest thing I put, I wasn't on papers or anything like that. I paid all my dues, and most states gave me my rights back. Um, Podcasts, talk shows, as what bothers you when people type and mean things on your stream? Does that happen to you sometime? Don't worry, I'm here for you. Um, Depends on what they type in. If they use keywords, it won't show up on my stream. It won't show up. I could go back and look at it, and I could approve or disapprove. But if they using some racial slangs and stuff like that, it won't show up. It won't show up at all. A lot of time I won't even see it. So, but majority of the time I have to approve it, and I'm here for you too, because we definitely need to hook up and uh, touch bases. And matter of fact, um, what state are you in, or where are you located? Um, Olive Oil said, I think everyone should have the right to. Yeah, I feel like they should get their rights back once they paid all their dues, and even when they haven't paid it, long as they're on the right track. But see, that's part of that voter suppression. Oh, you in prison, we're going to stop you from, we're going to take all your rights from you. Um, I think if a lot of people did vote, even people that is incarcerated are the ones that get out of incarceration, and if they actually got out and vote, I think our politics would be completely different, because people would not vote people like Greg Abbott in, or nor DeSantis, the governor of Florida, because of what they doing today. And I think they know they will lose. They will lose quite a bit. What make you special to change ways that people to stop bullying and say names? I'm here for you. Want to know why? Because I'm your biggest fan, and I'm here showing support. And I'm from New York. New York is in the house. Um, what make you special to change ways that people to stop bullying and say names? Um, well, I'll be I'll be honest with people. I'll be upfront. I'm open, and I treat them with respect, because I've had people come in the chat. They will come in with an attitude, but um, after they listen to the show for a while, they change their attitude, because I've always believed if you have two people going back and forth arguing, people won't be able to tell which one is the food and which one not the food. So I treat them with respect. And if they continue to do it, like I said, I probably should have blocked several of them, but I've only blocked one, and he don't even know I'm blocked him. And then um, we have one to come in every once in a while. One rule I have: do not call in with a blocked number. I won't answer. But this one dude, he will call in
every time with his number blocked, and I won't answer his call. I know it's him because one Thursday night after we got off the show, he kept calling, and my co-hosts were like, "Just see what he want." I answered the call. We was off the show, and he started saying something crazy, and I just hung up on him. And I told him, and sometimes he would call about 30 or 40 times in a night, just constantly calling, which is crazy. I think he needs some of those counseling that we talk about on the show. So it's crazy how people do. Um, uh, so I hopefully I answer that question, uh, all of that question. All the boys said they took the right to vote originally because of racism. So I don't agree with it. Black voters get this enfranchised. You're right. A lot of these laws, old laws that was made, was going against minority. That's why marijuana stopped being legal in the United States because of racism. Um, Now it's starting to come back, but it's also the fact that um, people are actually saying that, well, from the history of it, and don't get distracted by the wall that they talk about near the border, because that wall, they've been talking about that wall since the 40s. They've been talking about immigrants coming over to the US since the 40s. And that's why they made the law to ban marijuana, because when immigrants came over from Mexico, well, guess what? Their source of income was selling marijuana because it was used for a medical purpose in Mexico. So, in order for them to control that, they had to make it illegal for they can deport them. And then on top of that, how they got that law to pass was because they said if our white women would smoke marijuana, it would encourage them to sleep with black guys. So, and I can just imagine the ones that made the laws back then, if they still alive, how they feel about it now, because there's a lot of interracial relationships, and there's nothing wrong with it. You cannot, who you fall in love with is by design of appointment. So I'm like this: if you love them, hey, I'm happy for you. I've been in a relationship, so um, so that I have no problem with it. All the boys said, "I know that caller." Yeah, don't say his name; he'll be like Candyman and show up. Um, T. Cal said this was my favorite podcast too. I appreciate it. Um, does anyone ask me a question about you or send in info about you? Does that happen to you? I'm here to protect you and the streamers, and I love your podcast too. It's my favorite. Um, they don't really ask mean questions because I do put out that disclaimer. Um, if you ask the question before you ask it, prepare yourself for the answer, because I'm gonna answer it just straight up front. If you ask me something, not unless it's something personal. We did have one guy ask what type of vehicle I drive. That ain't none of your business. So, um, so it all depends on who the person is, and I don't share a lot of personal information on my shows, because this is a crazy world that we live in. So um so as for asking mean question, a lot of people really don't uh they will make mean comments, but I'm like, hey, that's their opinion. I don't I may not agree with it, but I'm not gonna try to change their opinion about me. I'm gonna let them say what they have to say. And long as they respectful, I can care less. If somebody came up to me and said, Kurt, dog, you big, okay? I agree with you. I'm losing weight though, but I could respect that person more because they came straight to me with it, and I didn't have to hear it from somebody else. So that's just the way I operate because I'm all about honesty, being honest and open. So, but some people is they like to do shady stuff and do stuff out from behind. TK said I'm on delay and catching up, so it's going to be a minute to answer you at all aboard. Uh, hey, yeah, I don't know what's going on because when I played the theme song, it was kind of breaking up at like it sounded like we had a old 45 on or something. But I was like, all right. Um, but yeah, you can pretty much ask anything you want to. I will answer, as long as it's nothing personal. I will answer and go from there. Um, so tonight, and I still want to know um, what are y'all doing tomorrow? Are you off work? Podcast talk as do you like scary movie or comedy movie? I like comedy. I will watch scary movie, but comedy laughter is bring healing to your soul. And I'm a joker. It may not seem that way on the show, but if you know me personally, oh yeah, we're gonna roll. I'm gonna keep you rolling. Um, hold on, real quick. We gotta do something real quick. Hold on. See if this gonna work. You are listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kurt Dog. I'm M. Who You With Kurt Dog. Want to welcome everyone on the show. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is always in the house. And also Anchor.fm is listening. Also, if you're on Anchor FM, please subscribe to the channel. It's just a low fee of $2.99 a month. $2.99 a month. Most of us spend that just by going to the store to get a bag of chips and a soda. So you can definitely subscribe to the channel, support the channel because we have some big things coming up in the near future. So I definitely want y'all to support it and support the show. Podcast talk shows said I'm just chilling and relaxing. I feel you because I work hard. I work hard and then I'm on the show 5 times a week. So I work very hard. And then I come on here at night and I'm like, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this day tomorrow. Um, so a couple of things we're going to cover tonight. Came out Friday that Jacob Chansley pled guilty to felony in the U.S. Capitol. I'm going to say terrorist attack. So he agreed to a plea deal last Friday, and he could face up to 4 years up in prison. 4 years in prison. Now, I've seen on the different things as for what type of penalty he have to pay for. One was one of them said 200,000 of for fees and stuff for damage that was done. But then I seen a couple other ones. 250,000 was the fine, up to 250,000, but he had to pay 2,000 in restitution for damage to the Capitol. I feel like, look, y'all need to do what you got to do because the thing is, I feel like a lot of these folks they're giving them a slap on the hand for the simple fact um, that if that was any other terrorist, they would not be allowed to get out of jail. They would not be allowed to go back home. They would not be allowed to go out of the country on family vacation or on a company trip and all of that. It wouldn't go down like that. You would not see these folks getting off because they said, I'm sorry, and get off with probation or community service. None of that would happen if this was any other terrorist. So as for me, I feel like, look, treat them like they are terrorists. Lock them up. Whatever a terrorist will get in that same time, regardless that they are uh, Americans, but they still did a terrorist act, and they shall be held accountable the right way. Because if it was anybody else, it would have been like, oh, we're going to put you away for life. So he did take the plea deal. They haven't sentenced him yet, but they saying he could face up to 4.5 years. Um, so we shall see. I think it's from 3.5 to 4.5. So we shall see with a $2,000 fine. Wait, tomorrow is Labor Day. Yes, it is. Tomorrow is Labor Day. Paid Labor Day too. Um, so um, so that's yeah, that is crazy about that. Um, and also, he also did a hunger strike because he wanted to have organic food. I didn't know you could request organic food when you're in prison. They're gonna spend extra money for you to get organic food. I guess you won't be eating. I guess you won't be eating because uh, I didn't know you can order what you want in prison. I've never been. I don't know um, what community uh, did you stream. I'm not trying to be rude or something. Just want to know if you can give me an example. I call out all of our platforms that we own. Um, uh, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter, D Live, and those are the ones that I do. Everybody is different. Some work better for others, but it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So that's that's the way I look at it. Just depends on what you feel comfortable with. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. So some people have a lot more followers on others, but it all varies for the simple fact that with me, sometimes I look at the numbers when we get off the show, and then I turn around, look at them the next morning, and it's like 10 times more than what it was before. Or we've had some shows that may have over 1,000 views in one night. So it just depends on what the topic is. And you can't really, for me personally, I really don't pay attention to the numbers. I like to see where we are, kind of see uh, what we hitting on. Because I know if I did drama, all up in folks' business, uh, yeah, our numbers will rise. But that's not my character. That's not me. I might cuss a little bit, but I'm getting better. Um, but you have to find your niche in that. Everybody is different. Uh, no, what's it? Oh, wait, maybe escape. No, Jacob actually, he was one of the terrorists that attacked Capitol Hill on January the 6th. He'd been in prison for 8 months, and along with that sentence, he will get time served for the time he spent in jail. Um, so if he get say 3.5 years, he probably be out in 2.5 years. Um, so he will get time for that service. Um, He's the one that had the shirtless paint on the face, the bull horns with the bear skin on his back. That was him. That was sitting at Vice President uh, Pence chair with the spear or whatever. But yeah, we deal with a lot of current events that's happening today. That's what we deal with, and um, so a lot of these stories that we cover is either updates, new information come out. Um, if new information come out, or if it's uh, a new story that come out, like senseless killing of unarmed black people or anybody really. Just it doesn't matter what the color is, but if it's a senseless killing, yes, we will uh, talk about it because the thing is, we have to. A lot of people don't pay attention to it, and so what we do, we bring it to the forefront to let people know. And I believe um, I want to say I just found you on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you have a yellow shirt on, uh, so it just depends. Do they have a video of him? Because I don't know if there is. Oh yeah, he was one of the main characters. He was the QAnon shaman uh, who was who was up there with no shirt, painting. He was at a lot of protests. Um, there's pictures, videos of him, and all of that. Um, if you just put in his name, you'll see a lot of it. And you probably have seen him, just didn't pay attention to him, didn't know who he was. But yeah, he's definitely um, one of those types that we definitely need to, as updates come up, we do pay attention to it. Uh, uh, well, what he did, he was part of the mob that went into Capitol Hill, try to overthrow our election when they was getting ready to certify the election with Vice President Mike Pence. Now, if you listen to Trump, um, before that attack happened, Trump talked about we going down there and march to Capitol Hill and demand that they uh, don't certify these votes. But Trump never did go. And then on top of that, his supporters went, but when they went, they broke into Capitol Hill. And since they broke into Capitol Hill, did all these damages in Capitol Hill, he was one of the main ones that did it. And he went up there where Mike Pence sat in his chair and done all these things, but then they want to say, I'm sorry after the fact. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have common sense. And that was one of those things when common sense should have came into play. Because, if you breaking into a government building, uh, you have to be able to um, accept the consequences that come along with it. So he's been in jail since I think about 2 or 3 weeks after the Capitol riot. He went to jail, and then they picked him up. I believe he's originally from Arizona, so they picked him up in Arizona, brought him back to Washington, and since they brought him back to Washington, he's been in jail ever since, and now he's facing a good uh, 3.5 to 4.5 years. So, so They haven't sentenced him yet. He just been in jail since they picked him up in Arizona. And once he got in jail, he went on a hunger strike. Uh, he went on a hunger strike to actually say that he he wasn't going to eat if he didn't have organic food. Well, you should have thought about that before you did the crime. So, how many years he went to prison for the first time before now? I don't know if he went before. I believe he did like acting work or something, but he's got the spotlight now. Um, Jack Ransel, welcome to the show. Please take the time to subscribe, like, share, tell a friend, click the notification for whenever we come on live. You can be a part of the show. And he asked the question: did Trump encourage the Capitol Hill? Uh, I would have finished the statement for you. I would assume you're talking about the Capitol Hill attack. Yes, because he did say, um, um, Trump did say before that attack that we are going to march down here and demand that they hold off on certifying these votes. So he said it in so many words that encouraged them, which it didn't take much to encourage that crowd. So yes, I would say Trump did encourage him by the words. And if you go back and listen to Trump, Trump had been talking about January 6th was going to be a great day, a day that you will never forget. And because of that, that's going down in history. And I feel it made us vulnerable for other terrorist attack um, for in the future. For the simple fact, it showed the weakness of our government, because look at how they're actually treating each one of them. They're not doing the things that should happen when you commit treason. And unfortunately, people feel like it was their right and they want to apologize now and cry and flame snot. But at the same time, you made that choice to listen to a clown. And because you listen to that clown, now you having a lot of legal troubles. So, yeah, every stream you meant capital, not Capitol Hill. Yeah, Capitol Hill, the in Washington, yes, um, from the January 6th, um, from the January 6th attack. Did Trump pay Jacob to call the security a cop to send Jacob to jail? I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if Trump paid him or not. I have no idea. Either way, if he paid him or not, it was wrong to put an attack on our government. It is wrong either way you look at it, because who gonna try to overthrow our election? Trump lost. That's all to it. He lost. Okay, come back in 4 years, try it again. But instead, he wanted to be a big old crybaby or bully and try to do other things. So if Jacob got paid, I don't know. I have no idea. And to be honest with you, I don't care, because Jacob made that decision to do that terrorist act. I see. I was watching his speech before the ride. I thought he kind of emphasized people going up there peacefully, but I don't know. When are a Trump supporter ever peacefully? We've seen at the beginning of his campaign, uh, for the first election, he was telling people to attack people if they went against him, and said he will pay their bail. So when have we ever seen Trump supporter peacefully? And then on top of that, now I'm not saying all of them are rowdy, but as for Trump, majority of his supporters are not peacefully. That's why we have all the Karens. That's why we have the Steves. That's why we see people riding on golf cart saying white power and Trump retweeting that as a president instead of denouncing that. Then we have the Charlottesville riot. Never should have happened. It is not that it's I haven't seen where it was peaceful. Now it might be peaceful for somebody who's there for Trump, but as for me, no, it's not a peaceful thing. He might say go up there peacefully, but he knew they wasn't. Even Ken Patson was there and he hyped them up. Everybody that came up and spoke that morning hyped them up to go down there to ride them up, saying he used keyword, they're stealing our election from us. They stole this election. So when you use those type of keywords, of course, it's not going to be peaceful. And the question would be, what is the question would be, where was the National Guard? Where were the Capitol Police before all this happened? They known in advance that this rally was going to happen there, but whenever a BLM rally happened in DC, they always had the National Guard, Capitol Police, any police officer that was available lined up on the steps to keep the people from going up the steps. But when it came down to Trump rally, that wasn't a choice. And even the Capitol Police that testified a couple of months ago, and they said, hey, when it was a BLM rally, we was prepared. We had backup. We didn't have nothing this time. We didn't have a thing. So it's definitely one of those situations where Trump did encourage them. At all of his rallies, he've always encouraged violence. So it's not the first time. If you've been talking about violence for 6 years, what's going to change this time? Nothing. So yeah, Trump encouraged him. What is Curtis Flowers? I've never heard of that. It might be new for me. We'll get to that one in a little bit. Trump supporter are not hostile. Just like Black Lives Matter are not hostile either. Black Lives Matter have a good standard, but unfortunately you have a couple of bad people that show up. And that's your opinion about Trump supporter not being hostile, because some people feel like they're not. But on the outside looking in, I feel like it is. As for certain things, because if people don't agree with them, they act hostile. They do things that will piss other folks off. So why are we hung up on Capitol rioters and not the countless buildings, including federal destroyed from BLM? See, that's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to explain this only one time tonight. BLM, they do the protests, which do make changes. But when you have certain group of folks that show up that don't have anything to do with BLM, but they show up to cause problem. It been a known fact. It been several arrests with people showing up that was not part of BLM, but they was part of other groups showing up and doing damages to buildings. So when somebody come up and do a damage to a building, because of that environment, it end up causing a bigger scene than what it should be. I've been at rallies. I go out there, but I'm gone. Go out there for the speech and may march a little bit, but I'm out of there before nightfall, because that's when a lot of things happen when nightfall happen. So, oh hell, and I told all aboard not to mention that name. Welcome to the show, Patrick Time. I see you brought your friend with you, Jack Ranso. So welcome to the show. Thank you for coming back. Majority of the Trump people were peaceful. That's your opinion. Uh, uh, no, I don't agree with that. What is the National Guard? How does this happen before he went to prison? He was arrested for taking part in the January 6th protest for the insurrection on Capitol Hill. So, because he was arrested for that crime, he'd been there and remain in jail until his trial date. So, he will cause be there until he get out of jail, whatever the judge sentenced him for. Um, Okay, Patrick, I have to start reading comments because I see Patrick Time is in the house and he's gonna start spreading lies and then have his homeboy, Jack Renso. Uh, and so we're gonna read through some of the comments. So you comparing BLM to Trump supporter? No, I'm not. It's a different crowd. Let me explain something to you. Black folks want the same rights as everybody else. We're not here to cause problems, but if problem come our way, we will solve the problems. So the bottom line is, now if we go out there and protest, march, uh, we're going to do it peacefully. But if a problem come about, we're also going to handle that problem. So no, it's not comparing them because it's two different breeds. Trump supporter go out there and won't trouble. So okay, passing wrong information, Patrick Time. So you saying that hell, all the Trump supporter was causing problems January 6th. They the ones that was trying to get the election overturned. So uh, they left his rally. So who were they? Who were they? If they wasn't Trump supporter, who were they? See, sometime I think sometime Patrick, you type things to just to see me put the message up on the thing. People who ride on January 6th was not Trump supporter. Who were they? Who supporter were they? I don't know anybody else they were supporting. Oh, you're not his friend? Oh, okay. Y'all just had the same mind thought. Well, look like we finna make our first love connection on the show. In which, hey, you like it, I love it. Uh, oh, we talked about that earlier. We started off doing it, but you came in late. But you can always go back and listen to the replay. We did talk about it. So, um, uh, I'm reading the comment. It, I'm like this. If you do the crime, you do the time. I don't care who it is. You do the crime, you do the time. But it also need to be a fair time. For the simple fact, whatever crime you do, it need to be equal across the board. Do who not have the same right? I'm not sure about your question. Everybody had the rights to protest. Protest. Everybody had that right to protest. But to cause a riot and destroy property, no, you don't have that right. And if you've been listening to the show for a while, which I know you haven't, even during the protest of George Floyd and other protests we had, I've said then, If somebody's out there destroying property, they should be arrested. Uh, it's your right to protest, but it's also your right to do time if you're going out there destroying property that is not yours. So if you destroying stuff, well, how is that benefiting you? And no, all of us are not Americans. I'm one, but everybody who's out there is not all American. They here in America. Um, it's not that I censor him, just I don't put uh, conspiracy thoughts up on my chat. That's my choice. That's my rights. So yes, BL members was at the protest, at a BLM protest, but that just because it's a BLM protest does not mean BLM is the ones causing the problems. And that's where people get it confused at. Just because they say it's a Black Lives Matter protest, they feel like they the one causing the problem. You are listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kurt Dog. I'm Who You With Kurt Dog. Want to welcome everyone on the show again. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is always in the house. And also Anchor.fm, which you can subscribe for a very low fee of $2.99 a month. And support the show. We have some big things coming up. So we definitely want to continue to go on with the show, talking with Jack Ransel, Patrick Time, T-Cal, Radio Chaos, all aboard, and several other people that is in the chat. So I don't know what you mean the logic don't add up. Yeah, Patrick Time, you're right. You don't have any logic. Okay. That's your opinion, but I knew from the time when you came on, you was a Trump supporter, and everybody is welcome here. So that's your choice. But one thing we are going to do is be respectful in the chat. If not, you made the choice to come here. So you made the choice to help support the show by just dumbass comments that you're making. So that's your choice. And I'm glad that you're here. If you stick around, you might learn a little something. So, because one thing about us, we're going to be honest and fair with everybody. So, regardless of your opinion, if you really open your eyes and get your head out of that commode that Trump be on, you'll learn a little something. So that's your choice. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. Jack, we already talked about that. T-Cal said yes, he did lose, and don't do it again. Don't try it again. Exactly. He would never make it back. Now, I did see last week he maybe think he's thinking about running for Congress or something. I don't know, a Senate or something. One of them, but that had never happened. Hopefully he in prison by then. Well, I've answered that question a while ago, Jacob. Yes, if you pull his name up, you can see videos and pictures of him on January 6th. No, I don't agree with that, Jack. No, Trump encouraged the folks. Put it like this: anybody, most of the people that admitted that they came to Washington because Trump put out a call for his supporters to come. They all said they came there to support him, to keep the election from being stolen. So it's not that I'm saying this. This is what people are saying they've been busted because of it. So that's not, as Trump would say, fake news. That's actually accurate because Trump supporters have said they came there for him. Even Jacob Chansley, he even said he came up for Trump. And matter of fact, he said several months ago he was ready to tell all um, about who's behind all of it, but he never did say anything. If he did, he haven't made it public. So, welcome to the show, Gabe Alpar. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. Please take the time to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification for when we come up live. You can always be a part of the show. Um, I'm gonna say this because apparently y'all keep asking. Like I said earlier, I feel like we give out way too much information. You tell your left hand what your right hand is doing, and something need to be in secret. When you announce that we're leaving Afghanistan, that never should have been announced because you give the enemy time to gather together and come up with a plan, and that was their fault. And I also said earlier, I don't care what president would have been in office during this time. If you go out and put out that information, I feel like it would have been the same result, even if it was Trump. And even if it was Trump, it would have been the same results. But because it happened on Biden watch, well, he's responsible for it. That's all to it. Yeah, we did talk about it, but we're moving on. That's because, I'm not going to say that. That's because you continue to ask questions about it. So I'm giving updates. If you don't know, which you haven't been on here long, but if we have to be able to update stories that we do deal with. So because new news came out about Jack Chansley taking the plea deal, that's news. But I know because of the way that you think, you probably just think we're gonna put out news that you don't want to hear. But the reality of it is some people that do love to hear updates on stories that we do. So it's the show is not just about you, it's a people show. It's about everybody. So um, um, I'm not. Trump just see it. So you keep talking about we bringing up old stuff. Trump just a racist. I said it, and I stand by it. Look at his history. He's been a racist for many years. So yeah, he is. Never should have been president. I love them both because we do history on Thursdays, and yes, reading is good, and also writing story. I should be trying to get my book published now, so hopefully by the first of the year we'll be coming out. We'll be gonna start on it within the next month or two. Well, I'm the pilot of this ship. You just a passenger. Just keep your seatbelt on, stay seated, and everything else will be great. Um, you don't know what would have happened. See, what a lot of people don't realize, this is what probably would have happened when Trump got elected. Trump mentioned he want to go to war. Go to war with who? So to be honest with you, if that happened on Trump watch, it would have been a lot more people dead than what it was, and a lot more American dead, because Trump probably would have sent the force in to blow the place up. So we cannot say what would have happened, what could have happened, and all of that. We don't know. We can assume, but we all know what assuming do. If you're not sure, I can break it down to you. Matter of fact, it's probably best I might well break it down. But assuming make an ass out of you and me. And that's one thing I'm not going to be, is an ass. So you can do that by yourself. So I just answered that again. You need to go back to the beginning of the show, and I did answer it then too. Okay, apparently you're not listening to the show. Have you taken your first shot? Exactly. I feel you on that, T-Cal. Go pull up the history of them. Pull up the history of them. Because the thing is, when Trump took out an ad in New York saying that the Central Park Five should be lynched for a crime they did not commit. That's the start of it. When he was sued quite a bit for having not wanting black people to live in his buildings. That's another part. Now he talk about immigrants from Mexico coming over and all of this, but he also been sued for having illegal immigrants working for his buildings. So yeah, do your homework. Do your homework. Okay. I always love a simple question. How has he been a racist? If you have to ask, exactly. Because if you feel like Trump is right, you might need to look at the man in the mirror, because you just might be a racist yourself. I know I'm gonna get comments saying, "Oh, you always bring up race and all of that," and but the thing is, I call it like I see it. Okay, we covered this on the show. Biden authored the racist 1994 crime bill, much worse than anything Trump did. I'm gonna say this one time tonight. Biden have admitted what he did, and he also said he dedicated himself to make sure he changed some of the things he did. So the thing is, a person have to want to change. If you realize you made a mistake, claim your mistake, move forward, change what you've done in the past. And that's what Biden have said. Yes, he was going with the majority on that bill. Now, have Biden done everything I like? Not at all. I feel like when it came down to the killing in Atlanta, the salon killing, massage parlor killing, when the guy was shooting up the massage parlors, and it was so quick for them to make a Asian hate bill, but black folks been trying to get a hate bill for hundreds of years, and then on top of that, how about the fact that we've been trying to stop this voter suppression that is mostly happening in the minority community? So we need to have our priority in order to do what's right for everybody. The hate bill, Asian hate bill, should not be called an Asian hate bill. It should be hate bill for everybody, that will cover every last person in America. not just one particular race. That's a problem I have. So don't say I find no fault in Biden. Biden is a man. I find no fault in Jesus. So don't say I don't find no fault in Biden. And I've said during the election, yeah, Biden was not my best choice, was not the choice I wanted for the simple fact we had to go with who was going to beat Trump at that time. And because of that, I voted for him because it's nowhere in hell we could have dealt with another 4 years of Trump. That's why we're in this predicament now with the pandemic. If Trump would have done what a leader would have done and told the people exactly what should have been done, we probably would be done with this pandemic because we had a fool in office that want to lie to us, and because we have fools like you that believe in that lie and feel like he's the best thing since sliced bread. So the thing is, yeah, I blame Trump for this pandemic. I blame Trump for lying to us and talking to a talk show host and telling him the truth, telling him how bad it was, which he should have been telling all of America how bad it was, and we need to protect ourselves. Even once he got the virus, he still pretend like it wasn't that bad. He want to do a parade as if it's not that bad. So once again, you are the fool for listening to him and feel like what he done is okay. So you are the one that's causing the problem, the fool. Um, I appreciate you for coming out, podcast, talk show, uh, invite me to the stream, show, live tape, uh, care, follow your dreams and show the world, make the dream come true. And I really appreciate it. Thank you, my guy. Um, okay. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. And like I said, let's connect. My phone number is always strolling across the top, and we can meet up. I believe I followed you on Twitter a while ago. So let's hook up. Radio said, I had to duck wow, had to duck out to take a phone call. I see the trolls are back. I was waiting for you to come back because I'm like, boy, they've been trying me tonight, and you know who it is. But at the same time, hey, like I explained to podcast talk show, um, you gotta have thick skin. You can't take it personal. Everybody don't think with uh, uh, don't think like a normal person. So, but once again, this is the society that we're living in. And because of Trump, a lot of people have a lot more courage to do it. But a lot of people also always been keyboard trolls. They'll say what they want to say behind the keyboard. But then they don't want to follow the rules. They feel like whatever they say and do is their choice, but not when it come down to my show. That's not the choice they're gonna be able to make because I'm not gonna go for it. But yeah. Um, so T-Cal said, indeed they are. Said, hey, radio. So we have a couple of more. Well, we had several more, but we're going to talk about a couple of things. I hope not. I told all aboard we did not need to talk about them because they will show up. And that's exactly what happened. Told all aboard, don't mention that name because he'll be like Candyman and show up. Now look at it. I don't even know if all aboard is still on here because and because the thing is, he soon as she mentioned it, She left me with him. And I'm like, Lord. But also, Curtis Flower, we kind of briefly talked about it a while back, and my story is not coming up. Then did something to my computer. They are keeping my story from coming up. But um, so let me get it back up real quick. Okay. Curtis Flower files a lawsuit against prosecutor who tried him in court 6 times. 6 times. That he's been found not guilty. And they continue to trial him in court. The lawsuit alleged misconduct and racial discrimination on behalf of the Montgomery County, Mississippi District Attorney Office. So Curtis Flower, a black Mississippi man who wrongfully spent 23 years for the murder of 4 people, is suing the prosecutor who tried him 6 times in court. The Associated Press report that on Friday, Flowers filed a lawsuit against Montgomery County District Attorney Doug Evans and 3 investigators that worked with him. The suit alleged misconduct on behalf of Evans and the investigators, saying they ignored other potential suspects and pressure witnesses to fabricate claims by seeing Mr. Flower in a particular location on the day of the murder. Curtis Flower never should have been charged, one of his attorney, Rob McDuff, of the Mississippi Center for Justice, said in a news release Friday. McDuff said the killings were clearly the work of a professional criminal, and Flowers, who was 26 at the time, had no criminal record. The prosecutor was tainted throughout by racial discrimination and repeated misconduct. McDuff said the lawsuit seek accountability for that misconduct. Flowers was arrested after Bertha Tardy, Carmen Risby, Robert Golden, and 16-year-old Derek Bobo Stewart was shot and killed in a furniture store owned by Tardy in 1996. Flowers was convicted twice for the individual death and twice for all for fleeing, while 2 other trials ended in mistrial. Through it all, Flowers maintained his innocence. The investigation podcast series In the Dark looked into the case, and not only did it feature a jailhouse informant on wax as he recanted his testimony that Flower confessed to him, but it also presented an analysis that found that Evans, a white man, had a history of leaving black people off of the jury. Thanks in part for the podcast finding, the U.S. Supreme Court in 2019 threw out Flowers' conviction and death sentence from his 6th trial, and all 4 of his conviction was overturned. Earlier this year, Mississippi judge ordered that the state pay Flowers $500,000 for the wrongful conviction. So congratulations on him, and hopefully he gets justice. 23 years in jail for a crime you did not commit, which is crazy. Let me see. Let me go through here. Do you know history? Yes, I do. Kurt Dog, look like you're having a battle of wits with unarmed trouble. Exactly. You don't have conversation. You just flash out. Yeah, that's why I overlook his comments. Because I'm like this. The way I look at it, if he really wanted to have a dialogue, open conversation, he would call without blocking his number and follow the rules of the show. And then he can have an open conversation. But the one time I did pick up his call, he said something crazy. Started saying, well, he got ready to say a racial slur, started, and I hung up on his ass. So, hell, at this point, apparently he liked something about the show. Apparently he liked something. because he come back. And anything that I talk about, um, anything that I talk about on the show, you can research it yourself. You can research it. I know when Radio Chaos first came on the show, radio would ask me, "Where did you find this story at?" I didn't never heard of it. I would tell him my source. He come back, "Oh, yeah, this did happen." So the thing is, anything I talk about, you can pull it up for yourself. Yeah, he was getting ready to say something, and I just hung up on him. And I said, "You was, because the way you was talking, you started to say, okay, I'm not going to argue with a fool, because if somebody see me going back and forth with a fool, they don't know which one of us is the fool. So I'm going to just leave that alone." You're right, Patrick. That's your opinion. I'm not going to try to change your opinion. You're right. But at least follow the rules, because you won't follow the rules. It's not even worth talking about. You don't want to follow the rules. So you just got a keyboard troll, which that's fine. I had no problem. But kind of like one night we did a replay. Soon as it came on, he called me, I think it was 33 times that night during a replay. 33 times. It was on a Friday night. Called 30. No, I take that back. It was on a Saturday night, because I talked about it the next day. It was on a Saturday night replay, and he called me 33 times during that replay. With his number block. With his number block. Yeah, he called me that many times. So I'm like, hey, you say you're willing to talk, but do I trust? I won't. You damn right I won't take it if you block your number. Follow the rules. You don't follow the rules, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just waiting for the troll to at least come up with some new material. They're not even very creative when they rant. Exactly. They only say a couple of things. That's all. Oh, your race theory. Your race theory. That's why they don't want to uh, teach about the history of America in schools, because they don't want their kids and great grandkids and all of them to know the history. So they want to whitewash it to keep it from being known. So yeah, but like I said, you more than welcome to, not tonight though. Um, uh, but yeah, you can definitely call. No, I don't. I don't. I don't. Why you don't follow the rules? Answer that one for me. Why you don't follow the rules? You follow the rules, I would take the call. But you don't follow the rules. So, but for the ones that been listening, I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Hopefully y'all have a great Labor Day tomorrow. And I should be on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Be safe. Be safe. Corona is still picking up. And matter of fact, I heard that it's a new variant out. So definitely be safe, and continue to see there. There you go again. No call ID. I cannot make this up. You see the no call ID, and we know who it is. We know it's you. That's why I don't answer your call, because you don't follow the rules. But uh, interesting. But anyway, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're new to the show, please take the time to like, share, subscribe, click the notification whenever we come on live. You can follow, you can tune in to the show, Patch Your Time, Radio Chaos, Um, who else came on? T Cal, all aboard. Um, ready podcast talk show. Even Gabe came back. Been a while since I heard from him, but he came back, and Jack Ransel and many other listeners. Thank y'all for tuning in. If the good Lord say the same, I will be here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. So please be safe, and I will talk to you then. Love each and every one of you. Peace.